Welcome back to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm Keith Downey, your host. I'm very excited to welcome back a friend of Morning Joy back to the show here, Marilis Pineiro, also known as X None on the Run on social media. And if you follow her on Instagram, you know she's just been traveling all over the world, sharing the wonders and beauty of our Catholic faith. And today we'll be talking about Medjugorje and the Vatican's doctrinal office on last Thursday, kind of endorsing the devotion to Mary at the popular pilgrimage site in Bosnia. But good morning and welcome back to the show, Marilis.
Hi, Keith. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me again.
That's great. It's great to have you. For those listening on the radio, Marilis is, as I mentioned, she's traveling. She's at the airport, and she has a friend with her. So who's your friend there?
I'm at the airport. This is Romeo.
For those listening,
we're at the airport in Barcelona.
Barcelona, Spain. Wow, that's so cool. So to kind of set the stage here, I guess I'll say that again. Medjugorje. So how do you pronounce Medjugorje? Do you say Medjugorje or Medjugorje?
I say Medjugorje,
okay.
But I've heard both.
Yeah, me too. But anyways, it's been a place of these alleged apparitions of the Virgin Mary since 1981. For our listeners out there who might not be familiar, could you maybe briefly explain what these apparitions entail?
So Our Lady began appearing there over 40 years ago. It started off to 8 visionaries, 8 children. They were anywhere from like 13 to, I want to say 18, 19 years old, the 8. And then over the years, that has decreased. And now she only appears to 3 daily. And her messages have always kind of, I want to say, been pretty consistent. I haven't read through every single one, but they've pretty much been like the usual: stay close to the sacraments, pray for peace, pray the rosary,
right,
like over and over and over again, pray for conversion. And for whatever reason, there's always been a little bit of like, I don't know what the word is, like disagreement, or, there's like people who love Medjugorje, people who hate Medjugorje. People are skeptical of Medjugorje, and it's because of a couple days ago, the Vatican approved the graces from Medjugorje. It's since come back on the news, but every once in a while, something like this will happen, and kind of brings it back to the forefront of conversation.
Right. Yeah. So could you tell us what the Vatican approved versus what they didn't approve?
So the doctrine of the faith of the church granted approval to have devotion to Medjugorje, or to Our Lady of Medjugorje, but they haven't made any kind of a statement towards the supernatural characters of the apparitions themselves. So very much the focus has been on the graces and the fruits from Medjugorje, and not on like the actual apparitions themselves. So I think it's important to make that distinction. Back in 2017, the Holy Father had approved making pilgrimage to Medjugorje, and then this has been like the latest update to that.
Right. And yeah, you mentioned there's a lot of people that go, like millions, I think, of pilgrims have visited Medjugorje. I know, it's wild.
Yes.
So
it's wild.
What do you think draws people to this village? Like, what do you think is like the main factor of it?
I think for sure there's definitely this sense of like curiosity and wonder with the apparitions. Of course, the fact that they are still actively happening is a draw. But also there's definitely this deep sense of prayer there. I was one who...
Oh, I think we're having some connection issues there at the airport. Can you still hear us there, Marilis? Oh, it looks like she might have dropped. That's okay. Well, we can continue talking about Medjugorje, or Medjugorje, however you want to pronounce it. So, long story short, I think what Marilis was going to be talking about as far as the why behind why many go to visit Medjugorje. It's probably, Mary, right? all things Our Lady, people want to go and see and be part of. Do you know much, senior producer Tim, much about Medjugorje?
I have to admit, I really don't.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, as a Catholic, a cradle Catholic, I have yet to really go to any major pilgrimages, and I think if just thinking out just my personal thing, I probably have Medjugorje maybe on like 4th or 5th type of, like, I would want to go to like Lourdes, not to say there's nothing wrong with Medjugorje or anything like that, but I just want to go to like an approved like site that there's just like no issue whatsoever. Not that there's any issue, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, the doubt about it, I think, is what's holding you back.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I've seen and I've read a lot people's stories of going and visiting, and a lot of people have been changed by visiting Medjugorje, which is really incredible.
Well, we do have someone here who can actually speak to the issue a little more better than I can. Debbie Georgiani is available, back from The Next Right Thing.
Oh, and we're also connecting with Barcelona again, so this is exciting.
Oh, okay,
Why don't
great.
you go ahead and continue the interview, Keith?
Sure.
If we can get her back on. Okay.
Marilis, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Welcome to the chaos.
Yeah, no.
Traveling.
Stable connection at the airport. Yeah, no, it's okay. So you were just talking about the kind of the why. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was very skeptical when I first went to Medjugorje, and if it hadn't been for Cardinal Sarah, I would have never gone at all to begin with. But he was going to Medjugorje back in 2021 or 2022. It was one of the summers I was gallivanting around Europe during the pandemic, and he was going, and so I got an invitation to go. Cardinal Sarah was going, a bunch of other people were going. Little did I know it was going to be this huge festival honoring Our Lady that they have every year called Malati Fest. At this point, I knew nothing about Medjugorje other than the fact that I thought it was like kind of sketchy, not gonna lie. And then I get there, and there's 60,000 people there from all over the world.
Wow.
And Cardinal Sarah gave these beautiful catechesis, a series of catechesis on trust and Our Lady's trust. And it was also my first time experiencing, and I've been to World Youth Day, I've been to all kinds of huge gatherings with the Holy Father. It was my first time being in a crowd of 60,000 people, having adoration in the night where you could hear a pin drop. That was the reverence,
Wow.
and the reverence that they held for the Eucharist. And that very much was kind of the thread, I guess you could say, was just this reverence and deep love for the Eucharist that was constantly being repeated over and over again, whether it was in the catechesis of His Eminence or the other speakers that were there, or just the reverence that they had for the Eucharist and adoration. They have adoration all day in Medjugorje. There's an adoration chapel. They have mass throughout the day. They, will pray the Stations of the Cross, going up Cross Mountain. It's this mountain in Medj. But again and again, it was just this repetition of love the Eucharist and frequent the adoration for the Eucharist, but also frequent the sacraments along with Holy Communion, but confession as well. There would be confession lines like out the wazoo. I'd never seen anything like it, with tons of priests just hearing confession after confession after confession. And so I was like, where in the world what other planet have I landed upon? And that was really kind of the beginning for me with I guess opening the door of what is this? What is this draw? And it really, to me, comes down to love of the Eucharist.
Wow. So is that like that all the time, or is that specifically that festival?
That festival, but they have adoration all the time, every day, all day. They have priests constantly hearing confession in all different languages. They have mass, several masses throughout the day, all the time, not just during the festival. Yeah.
Wow. So
there are definitely times when it's quieter, but
sure,
it's a pretty popular pilgrimage site. Yeah.
So there's a chapel, and then what else is there for pilgrims to see when they go there?
So there's this hill called Apparition Hill. It's where Our Lady appeared to the children, and you can climb it. It's a little bit of a climb. It's pretty rocky, but worth it. I've seen people on crutches climbing it. So, when I'm like dying going up this hill, I'm like, if, this person on crutches can do it, I can do it just fine. So Apparition Hill, it's very peaceful. Again, like very kind of reverent and peaceful. And you can go up there and pray. There's Cross Mountain, which is an even bigger mountain to climb, and people will usually pray the Stations of the Cross. They have stations going up to the very top of the cross, and they have places that were particular for the apparitions. Like one of the seers, her house is available for a visit if you'd like to visit it. But really, the kind of the central hub is where the Adoration Chapel / the main church is. Those are where a lot of the activities take place.
Gotcha. So when pilgrims go there, is it like just a day thing, or is it something that they like spend? Like what is typical like a pilgrimage look like there?
I would say if you really want to get the most out of Medj, I would give yourself at least 2 or 3 days there.
2-3 days.
To really kind of to delve into the atmosphere, to get time. Because otherwise you're just rushing through everything, running up Cross Mountain, running up Apparition Hill, and not really getting that time to pray and take it in. And Our Lady's, her main request has just been go to confession, receive the Eucharist, pray the Rosary. You want to do all that while you're there too. So.
Yeah, can't disagree with any of those. Yeah, that's great. Well, my goodness, thank you so much for joining us. I know at the airport it's crazy there. We'll let you board your plane.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, safe travels to you, Marilis. And wow, that's
right.
it. That's it for Morning Joy. Thank you so much again, Marilis. We'll see you around later. And there's 2 options we can go, right? We can listen to the Holy Mass coming up right now. And if you are going to be doing that, please pray for us. We will continue to pray for your intentions, of course. Otherwise, you should join us for the Morning Joy Morning Show after show. That's right. Joining us will be Debbie Georgiani and talk all about Padre Pio. She's got many great stories. You're not going to want to miss this, okay? You got to just search Morning Joy Radio on YouTube, Facebook, or any of the social medias, or GRN Online. But until then, if this is us parting ways, God bless, and make it a joyful day. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning on Morning Joy.
This has been Morning Joy, where truth matters, hosted by Keith Downey. Take some joy with you today. Visit grnonline.com/joy to listen again, share a segment, or answer the question of the day. That's grnonline.com/joy.